the story we're just going to finish, which we were reading yesterday, 629. Well, we're going to revisit this last paragraph and the footnote there. So we're telling the story of this. Actually, we're going to get to something but this chassid here, Vishmayon Lochem Sasonkin, he's this fellow here sitting here. That's him. So he was a mashpia in Yerushalayim, a very great chassid, and someone that was makar of many Yidden to Chabad, including Rabbi Steinsaltz, became Lubavitcher, inspired by him. So this Rabbi Nachman Shmael Sasonkin, we were telling yesterday, was in Russia. He was not born into a Lubavitch family, actually like a Litvish Misnagdisher family, and now he ended up, he met Rabbi Vom Schneerson. This is the father-in-law of the Frierdiker Rebbe, who inspired him to go to Lubavitch and became a Lubavitch chassid. And he was there in the heyday of Lubavitch, the Tomchet Mimim, the heyday, when it was just the early days there, many great mashpim chassidim from that era. Also, I told you yesterday that two of his sons were arrested and died from deprivation in the Gulag, and their crimes they were all active in the Lubavitch underground of keeping Yiddish alive. A third of his son, Moishe Sasonkin, managed to get out of Russia, and he told you stories about Rabbi. We told you maybe 5-6 stories of Rabbi in the Gulag. We know the stories because he survived them and told us the stories, and each one of them is amazing. So now I'm just giving you a sense of who this the Nachman Shmael Sasonkin we were describing. We were translating an article that he wrote when he first came to Lubavitch. He came to Lubavitch to come to the yeshiva there, and so we went. Remember the story yesterday that he was going to be tested on Masechta Gittin by the Menal, by the Zev Levitin. So he figured that after davening, he'll go into a quiet place where they davened. They davened in one place and they learned in another hall. And they all have solitude. They have to prepare himself for his test. And he's shocked to see that there's some bachim that they're still davening. And he describes what he's seeing, which was a complete culture shock. Never seen such a thing. It's a weekday, bachrim, and pouring out their heart. And he's watching this. They're in silence. They're obviously deep in thought, thinking about something. And after some silence, each one, oblivious to the other, is kind of awakening. This one sings a nigging of deep embitteredness. This one sings a nigging of joy. This one begins to say the words, with now continuing his description. Never seen such a thing. So he says, I know that there are people that have pain. I'm translating here, friends. Mori nefesh, they cry. Because they're missing the gashmiest things, or very poor, or God forbid, ill. His ship is drowning. Young Bochrim, what are they lacking? That he sees this outpouring of the soul, tears streaming down the cheeks? What are they pining and longing for? And you stand there, he says, and you watch them, and you're wondering, what is this? What's this feeling for these young fellas of 16, 18, 19? So he says, this yeshiva is different. This is a spiritual factor, he says, that you come in here coarse and come out refined and spiritual, and that he's seeing here that he never saw such a thing. So I'm standing in deep thought for a long time, and I forgot about my test. And then I realized I'm just watching them in utter awe and amazement and envy, I guess. I want to feel what they're feeling, know what they know, yearn for what they're yearning for. And then I realized I'm going to be tested now. So I left them and I found myself a corner to look into the Gemara, prepare myself for the test. he said, I passed the test, Baruch Hashem, and they put me amongst the students of the big Zal, that's the oldest students. And then, of course, he spent 5 years in Lubavitch. There, then I found out these Bochrim, that they meditate in davening, and they are called, there's a term, called Oivdim. Oivdim, servants of Hashem. And then it doesn't go into detail here, but in order to be allowed not to come late, because they didn't eat breakfast, they missed breakfast, that's their business. But to be able to come late to legally need special permission. Not everybody was allowed to do that. There was a whole, just reminded of a funny story, that years ago, I spent a Shabbos in Camp Gan Yisrael. It was a long time. Yisrael was a little kid. And I've told him, my dear friend, ran the Masmidim program in camp. Is the camp, and then there's the different section. There's Mesifta boys, who 80% of the day they learn. It's not a full camp program. It's more relaxed. And Naftali was in charge. So Naftali said, come up for Shabbos to Fabreng. Actually, we did it more than once, and they were 24-hour Fabreng, pretty much. Learn, daven. But so I remember, so I'm trying to remember exactly what happened anyways. It was late after the Fabrengen, and I was hungry. I hadn't eaten anything really. So I went to the kitchen, and I found a piece of chicken, a small piece of chicken, something, and I ate it. I found out later that Goldman, he's a shliach today, he's a little bit older than me, he's a shliach Yeah. Yossi Goldman. No, not him. Younger brother. He's in South America. I apologize to the listener, I should know. And I forgot his first name also, give out.
Rio de Janeiro.
And what's his first name? Whatever.
Whatever.
No, anyway. No. So it turns out that he didn't say anything, but other guys told me, he said, this guy's davens 5-6 hours Shabbos, whatever it is. And this was his Shabbos. I don't know if he put it away or someone else did for him. I don't think he put it away. But the cook, whatever it is, put away a piece of the back of the fridge. I was hungry. He didn't say a word to me. I found out later this was this. But it was a beautiful thing. He's a bocher, oived, davening, Shabbos, 5-6 hours. And he probably ate it till 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And his day began relatively early. Okay, friends.